Welcome to Zero Tackle Hard Knocks, where each week each team cops a hard knock or a burning question. We are fresh off of round 10, so let's kick it off with, can Ezra Mam do it against the top teams? If you thought we were finished talking about Adam Reynolds, you'd be wrong. Maybe not him specifically, but how Brisbane are faring without him. They saw off the first test with a good win over the Parramatta Eels, but they were missing players too. Ezra Mam led the charge from 5/8 with an excellent performance. Whether he can do that with no Reynolds guiding the show against the top teams though, who knows? What role will Corey Horsburgh play when he returns? Last year, Horsburgh was among the top locks in the competition. This year, he's barely played an NRL game with injury and suspension. He is due back next week, but unlikely to replace Morgan Smithies in the side. A Canberra side with Horsburgh is better than one without him though, so expect him to take top spot on the bench and fight to regain his place in the starting side. Is Drew Hutchison the right man at halfback? To be honest with you, the Bulldogs are probably playing better than anticipated this season. That said, how much credit should be given to Drew Hutchison is really up for debate. Halfback was always going to be one of those toss-up spots for the blue and white this season, and Canterbury's attack was lost against Penrith on Friday. Toby Sexton is waiting in the wings. It's definitely a discussion point. Is Cameron McInnes in Origin contention? With New South Wales currently in the crosshairs of an injury crisis ahead of the State of Origin series, one name that continues to be mentioned in the same sentence as Blues jersey is Cameron McInnes. He played in the full 80 minutes for the Sharks on Saturday in an upset win over the Storm without Nicho Hynes and constantly churns out strong performances. He may not be flashy, but he has Origin written all over him, and it's almost baffling he hasn't played in the arena previously. Moeaki Fotuaika is now the Titans' most important player. We have correctly labelled AJ Brimson as the Titans' best player previously, and while he is the player who the Gold Coast must build their attack around, it doesn't mean he is the most important. That title belongs to Moeaki Fotuaika, who continues to stand up and deliver without the injured Tino. Big Mo must surely be a lock for a Queensland jumper in a few weeks' time. Can Manly avoid collapsing without Turbo? Tom Trbojevic has done it again. Another hamstring injury, another lengthy sideline stint, and Manly have to do it yet again without their best player. The Sea Eagles have struggled without their star number one in recent years, and while Ruben Garrick continues to grow in that role as his replacement, the former Dally M medalist is simply irreplaceable. The Storm need Jerome Hughes to be successful. We all know replacing a halfback is the competition's toughest task for any team. That's even more so the case when you have one as good as Jerome Hughes. Melbourne's attack looked clunky in that surprise loss to the Sharks on Saturday evening, and while they have other issues, it's pretty evident they aren't going anywhere this season unless the New Zealand international is on the park and churning out strong performances when it counts. Another halves change is coming, so can the Knights keep winning? Just when the Knights started to find some consistency, Tyson Gamble has gone down with an injury that is likely to keep him out of the side for a number of weeks. The 5/8 missing means Jack Cogger will be recalled after being dropped earlier in the campaign. Adam O'Brien will have to stick with the new combination until Gamble, who is off contract at the end of the year, is fit again. Big pressure coming for the Knights, who have won 3 on the bounce and face the Titans next week. How do the Warriors replace Shaun Johnson? While at the time of publication, we are still unsure of exactly how long Shaun Johnson will be sidelined for. What we do know is that he won't play next week and that the Warriors will need to find a way to win without him. They haven't been able to win with him though, and were down 4 tries to nothing against the Roosters in 15 minutes on Sunday. Good luck to Tamare Martin and Chanel Harris-Tavita if he passes fit for next week, because the Warriors have become nothing short of a basket case. Is Todd Payten on borrowed time? Well, here we go. It's a question that just 18 months ago would have been inconceivable to ask. Now, not so much. The Cowboys fumbled and bumbled from one error to the next on Sunday afternoon, eventually coming up short against the Titans. It means after a promising start to the season, they have now lost 5 on the hop and sit 12th on the table. Following last season's finals miss, Payten needs to turn things around quickly to avoid any pressure. The Eels need the best version of Junior Paulo back. The demise of Junior Paulo in 2024 could well be studied in the future. He might be the club captain, but the Origin caliber player hasn't been himself this season, dropped to Brad Arthur's bench and only averaging 110 metres per game. The Eels have other problems, starting with injuries, but Paulo's performances, both in reduced minutes and output, have seriously stung the blue and gold so far this year. Can the Panthers win enough without Nathan Cleary? Look, we may actually be crazy for doubting the Panthers. They haven't put a foot wrong in 3 years, but No Nathan Cleary for the next 8 weeks, and backup Brad Schneider also suffering a knee injury on the same night leaves them with a big hole to fill. Whichever way Ivan Cleary decides to go in replacing his son, the Panthers need to keep winning if they want to remain in the top 4. It's going to be a big job. Why isn't Tallis Duncan starting? The fact Tallis Duncan hasn't played every game for the Rabbitohs this year is absolutely baffling. The fact Cameron Murray was injured and still the best the club could find for him was a role on the bench, though, is beyond confusing. He had impact from the bench against the Dragons on Saturday and must start games moving forward. Surely he's a better option than Saliva Havili. Have the Eels made a Zach Lomax error? Zach Lomax might be desperate to play at the centre again, but it's hard to suggest the Eels have made a good call signing him to do just that next year. Lomax was mega again on the wing for the Dragons in a win over the Rabbitohs on Saturday evening, following 2 horrendous weeks at centre. He hasn't played a bad game on the wing yet in 2024 and has become one of the Dragons' most dangerous players. Could Connor Watson be the Blues' utility? At the moment, it's hard to see a reason why he couldn't be. Playing in a Roosters side who may have had some issues this campaign, he has been among the club's most consistent players and, without being flashy, was again strong against the Warriors on Sunday afternoon. He is the sort of player who works hard, doesn't make mistakes, and would suit the Origin arena. Why haven't the Dolphins re-signed Ewan Aitken yet? Nah, but seriously, it doesn't matter whether he plays centre, second row, or off the bench, he just turns up and does his job week after week. The ex-Dragon and Warrior had another strong performance against Manly on the weekend, but is off contract at the end of the season. He is the sort of player the Dolphins should be desperate to retain, and surely Christian Wolf wants him as part of the squad next year. The Tigers must re-sign Stefano Utoikamanu. Every week that goes by without Utoikamanu's signature being locked away on paper is alarming for the Tigers. He's already as good as the leader of the forward pack and will continue to develop in the coming years. Anything less than him playing for the club next season will be an abject disaster for the joint venture. Those are our hard knocks and burning questions leading into round 10. Are we right? Are we wrong? Are we asking the right questions? Let us know what you think in the comments. Hit the subscribe button and catch all the latest NRL news at zerotackle.com, the #1 NRL independent news source.